Welcome back to the stream. PLObro here. We're looking at episode number 3. Let's get it in, boys. We have been running pretty bad, actually, the last day, 2 days since our last stream. Lost a couple buy-ins. If you check out the current bankroll, we are off track on the road to 100K, but we're looking to get it in and get it in good tonight and see if we can't rectify the situation. So enjoy yourselves. Feel free to chat, put in your thoughts on the hands. Let me know what you think about the thought process and the spots. Hopefully we can cooler some of these fools and make a little bit of money in the process. We are going to try and 2-table this time. Last time we did 1 table. I'll have the chance to talk about the spots, the decisions, what I'm thinking, and interact with the viewers. So I think we can still do that with 2 tables and actually get a little more action in. And we're gonna let this go. We are gonna post. Let's go. So after the last stream, a couple of my friends that tuned in put in some thoughts on some of my hand selections, some of my starting ranges. And after going back and doing some studies on that, I wanted to give them a big shout out to help me realize that hands in like this category, like 3 broadways with a dangler, and this is actually maybe a defend, but I don't want to get back raised by this guy, and I'm not king high to the suit, so it's not nutted at all. That would actually been a pretty strong flop, actually, but can't just go by that, by the flop. At any rate, so like this category type hands, and then hands like middle pair, like semi-connected middle pair type hands are the ones that I've been overplaying those a little bit, and probably was definitely a weak in the game. So we're gonna try and tighten up a little bit. These tables on ignition have been pretty loose passive as well, so just gonna set that to a fold. So I think we're gonna try and tighten up our range a little bit and look to play more nutted hands with, you know, nut flush draw type hands, high card type hands, play less of like this type of thing, middling pairs and rundowns, where our chances of being cooler by our opponent outweighs our chances of coolering our opponent. So hope everybody's enjoying their Saturday. Everybody here in America, hope you have a great holiday plan for Monday or the long weekend. Fold. No doubt about it. This hand's super disconnected. Our suit's not ace high. I think it's pretty cut and dry. Maybe this is like borderline. I'm gonna raise. We can definitely rep more aces in our range than the big blind who's completing here. We're gonna have a lot more aces than he does. When he calls, we're not feeling too pumped about that. Are you trying a gut shot? And then he donks out into us, and we're just gonna fold. He has a straight or two pair there, like top two a lot, and we don't really have anything to go off of, so we're just gonna get out of there. We're running pretty bad actually the last day, 2 days. Forgot to turn the volume off on that. I do apologize. This big bond's a clear fold to UTG open. It's really a fold to any open, I think. It's an interesting spot for player 6 to raise. Player 4 is going to have a lot more aces in his range, is under the gun, so I think you got to give 6 a lot of credit for a made hand there. King, king, 6, 3, 1 suit. This is a spot where I'm going to flat and try to get these guys in so we have some implied odds to hit like a top set hand. And we flop trip 6s with the king a heart blocker. And we're going to check raise if he c bets. This is a garbage hand, but we're getting incredible odds. Flop 2 pair. We don't have any hearts though, so we're gonna probably check fold there. We want player 2 to c-bet this spot for sure, and it doesn't look like he did. 2 flush draws now, and I think we need to bet. I don't really. You don't want to get raised, but we can't let them draw. Like half the deck sucks for us on the river, except for, you know, unless we boat up. So everybody checked on that flop, so we're gonna put out. We're gonna put out a bet and maybe get like some better 2 pairs to fold. Maybe even. Yeah, I don't know. I think we probably should give up. We don't have any hearts in our hand to block. Yeah, we're just gonna give up. Yeah, we probably could have got a fold there. Maybe we should have followed through, but I don't know. I think it's being results oriented. To raise, we're going to fold this in small blind. We do have nut suit, but our connectivity is pretty poor. We only have 1 Broadway card with our ace, so we're just going to get out of there. This is a fold as well. Yeah, so we were running really good for a couple sessions there, and then last night we flop top 2 here, and then turn 3 pair. Last night we had a pretty rough session, and then played some today and found ourselves in a similar predicament. Running pretty bad though. I mean, just all in spots. Had a hand last night where we flop a set in the nut flush draw. We check raise the original raiser, and he calls. And he ends up, we get it in on the turn, he binks a gut shot, and he basically called me with a gut shot and a dominated flush draw and got there. I had 80% equity, so that was pretty cool. 80% equity in PLO is like a unicorn on the flop. So it's kind of painful when you lose those. The World Series coming up. It is at hand. Not going to be able to make it out to Vegas this year, it doesn't look like, unfortunately. But on the flip side, we got a lot going on here with PLObro, getting this rolling. The stream has been going well. Been putting a lot of time into my game, doing a lot of studying off the tables, trying to plug some leaks. And so hopefully we can see the fruit of those labors. So I think it'll be pretty cool to, you know, if we can successfully document through the streams and video and putting them on YouTube, the transition from No Limit to PLO. It'll be really interesting, I think, to look back and see some of the, like, what my thought process is like right now versus what it is, you know, down the road. And like, just to see how that transition process takes place, what the win rates, how the win rates change over time, what stakes we can get up to. I think that'll be pretty. It'll be pretty interesting. So on the YouTube channel too, I'm doing a lot of like hand analysis videos and breakdowns using Poker Juice and some other tools to run like different sims and equity calculations, EV calculations, and similarly to the streams, I think it'll be pretty cool to see like how my thought process is when I'm breaking down hands in those tools and how I'm viewing ranges and different spots now versus, you know, down the road. So I think it'll be pretty. It's a pretty cool. I guess the PLObro like space, like what we're trying to do, is pretty cool compared to just like, it is a bankroll challenge in a way, but it's a bankroll challenge that's a little bit different from like your standard bankroll challenge. It's like there's a lot of big name pros, like, you know, Doug Polk is doing, you know, has his bankroll challenge. I know Jay Nandez 87 is doing a PLO bankroll challenge, and those are like, you know, high top tier pros. So I think it's pretty cool to kind of cover the flip side. Like, so those guys are doing bankroll challenges showing that, hey, they can do it. So I kind of want to show the flip side of that coin from the perspective of like a mid-stakes no-limit reg going to... Yeah, we're going to complete this. Making a transition to a new game. And I think it'd be really cool to see how everything pans out. For better or for worse. Alright, so flop a backdoor flush draw. We got top pair, top kicker, 2 overs, backdoor straight draw. And 2 backdoor straight draws. We're going to call one. So we're looking for a jack, a king, an ace, a spade. Queen gives us a gut shot now. Not the greatest card, though. This guy's repping a really strong hand, like a set. Maybe 2 pair. We're drawing really slim against a set. We're gonna let it go. You could probably continue, like the queen of spades would be a continue, I think. TMZ1, thanks for the follow, brother. And welcome to the stream. We're gonna get rid of this hand. Ace King, 9-9. We got nut clubs. We're gonna see what the action looks like when it gets to us on this one, actually. We're just gonna flat here. Try to go multi-way, cooler somebody with like a nut flush. If he wants to min raise, I don't understand what he's trying to accomplish there. We're obviously not going to go anywhere. Flop a set. We're going to fold this hand. I feel like I flop a lot of my sets on mono boards. He c-bets, which is really weird. We're definitely getting odds to call. We're going to have to get in there. See what everybody does here. If we get potted on, we're kind of in a crappy spot. I have to call again. And then he pots. That's pretty gross. I wish we had 1 heart in our hand. And we could have probably played that a little more aggressively, especially with the 4th heart on the board. But I have to give him a little more credit. He barreled, he c-bet into 2 opponents, and then he barreled after getting 2 callers. So that's pretty strong. It's going to be hard to be... I mean, he would maybe do that with the ace of hearts, but that's pretty strong. He's playing it really strong, so. It's been interesting to like check out like some of the differences between using a HUD here on Ignition versus like ACR, where you can track a longer term database. I think part of that leads you to want to play more GTO, and then on the flip side though, you could maybe get away with some plays that could be exploited by others if they had a long-term database on you. So it's an interesting spot. Yeah, we're gonna open here. Got decent connectivity. So this flop just like hits his big blind defend range like a lot more than it hits my range. So I'm gonna check back so I don't get jammed on when I have equity. I can pick up a backdoor draw. I can obviously hit a queen. And then he's gonna bet out into us. If he has a flush draw, he could have a straight too. He could have 5-6. But I'm gonna raise here. I think he probably, so if he would have had a straight with the flush draw being out there, he would have gotten it in. So I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive I'm good here. So I'm gonna bet big and just try to get called by like smaller sets, I guess. Maybe some bigger, some two pair. There's only one straight on the board. Yeah, Rob, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I definitely will do. Yeah, so this is episode 3. And definitely been some things that I guess I'm trying to, wanted to get it off the ground, and I'm looking at, you know, fielding ideas and comments, critiques from everybody that's been watching, trying to, you know, make sure that we improve where we can. We do have a king high suit. We're going to defend this spot. We're going to check here. There's no reason to bet. It's just going to fold out his heir. And he pots, which is kind of interesting. We turn trips. So we're not going anywhere. That's going to be a fold in the small blind for sure. So we want to get called by like kings and aces and like, I don't know what else he's going to be having that we could even possibly get called by. So we're going to bet small and try to get called by like aces. Looks like he folded. Make sure. Yeah, he folded. Pretty easy fold here. We just like, this is like a spot where you have like, you know, some reasonable equity with like and hold 'em. Not from the small blind. I mean, I don't know. Queen Jack, you might want to like see a flop. Some people would. I would probably fold. But Queen Jack, I don't know, what was the hand? We're gonna fold that. Queen Jack 8-7. The river D nuts. And there's action too. But I mean, like, our flush draw is non-nutted. We're not gonna ever feel great about that out of position. It's gonna let us, we're gonna under-realize our equity. And unless the board runs out the way it did right there, like, we're just not gonna have a lot of spots that we're really happy about. This is a hand that I was overplaying until recently as well. These like connected like Broadway or near Broadway cards, like 3 connected with like 1 trashy dangler. It's a pretty big leak that I plugged. Coming from no limit, like, yeah, Jack 10 suited, I would want to play that, so adding an 8 in there gives me some more connectivity. I think that's like kind of a mindset a lot of transitioning players, or the way, a perspective a lot of transitioning players look at it from, which is just wrong. I'm gonna give a shout out to Rob Boyd with Ship It Poker on the stream. Go check out his stuff at shipitpoker.com. Great guy, great brand. On 2 tables here and getting a bunch of garbage. We've played like, what, 3 hands? It's cool, we're gonna catch a heater in just a second and just start stacking these guys. Yeah, easy fold. And that's gonna be fold too. I'm not even gonna try and steal with this hand. I mean, it's just too disconnected, really gappy. Suit's super low. These guys look like they're defending, like, you know, they're V-pipping pretty high too. I'm gonna open this hand up though. There's only 1 big blind, 1 blind. He's playing fairly wide. We have a decent suit and decent high card strength and some decent connectivity. Got a gap at the top and at the bottom, which isn't that great, but the 8 is reasonably connected. It's connected to the jack and the 10. So we're gonna go with it. Maybe partially out of boredom. Flop open-ended. Again, we're gonna check, protect our check back range. And we flop the stones. So we're gonna bet, and we're gonna bet like pretty big. We wanna charge diamond draws. More than what their pot odds would give them the call. It hasn't been until recently that I've ever gotten the thimble for Nitty player. Look at these stats right now. It's only 34 hands, but I was never the guy with the thimble in No Limit. But on Ignition particularly, a lot of these players are just playing super loose passive. I mean, yes, our sample sizes are small, but you know, 46, 45, 37. We're gonna have to fold that small blind. 60, 84, 45. And the PFRs are like, I mean, I know these are small samples, but I think that like waiting for hands with like high nuttiness components where you can cooler them is going to be the way to exploit their loose play. Because you want to make them pay, you want to punish them for getting into hands with like not great, you know, high card strength or high suit strength. Would have flopped 3 pair on this one, and obviously would have ended up getting it in against player 2, blocking all the sets. It'd be interesting to see what he had there. We're gonna raise this, try to steal these blinds. That's a fold from under the gun. We flopped the low straight. It's not like a great spot. We do have a blocker to the nut straight. And we don't necessarily want to let a diamond get there for free, so I'm going to bet. I mean, we're only losing to Jack 7 and Queen Jack, and we have a blocker to both of those. Not a great card, not a terrible card. We're gonna actually keep this pot small. And when he checks, we know he doesn't have a boat, so we are almost certainly good here. So we're gonna bet, see if we can get called. What just happened there? Did we get called? I think I heard a call. No. We'll take it though. We'll take the pots where we can get them. That was a fairly wide open from the button, I think. Without the nut suit. We have a nut suit here. We're gonna fold this though. We don't know. These guys are probably just gonna call, but this guy's like 3-bet percentage is super small. Would have flopped trips with the ace kicker and almost certainly have the best hand. But I think that with 2 limpers and then the razor, like the hand's just too disconnected and too low to really do much with. Jack 10 3-3. We'll take the walk. More than happy to take a walk. That's gonna be a fold from the small. And that's gonna be a fold from the small. One thing as a part of this transition that I have definitely noticed is a difference between a pretty significant difference between PLO and No Limit is the hands per hour is just like, it's just significantly lower. Especially, so I've noticed that there's even a big difference between ignition and ACR. So ignition definitely has more passive, like, what do I have on this other table? Loose passive players. So a lot of hands are going to the turn in the river, where on ACR, it's less the case. Rainbow aces here, flop top set. We're gonna bet just because, I mean, there's not a lot of terrible cards. You don't really want to see, I don't know, anything a 5, but anything below a 6 or above a 9 actually does make a straight. We want to charge those hands. But other than some gut shots, there's not much he can really have there. But our visibility, if we let him get there for free, not only that, but a lot of times you just have no idea what these guys would just call you super light on the flop sometimes, especially if you're on the button. We're gonna try and take this down because it's gonna be hard to win otherwise. And we're gonna give up. I don't know that he's gonna fold trips. Yeah, and he did have trips. When he check calls there, it's hard for him to have much else other than trips, in my opinion. So, I mean, I guess he could have some overpairs, maybe some straight draws. King, queen, 6-3 double suited from the big blind. I want to defend like somewhat wide, even though I'm not like super pumped about this hand. We do hit a pretty solid flop though. Oops, too slow. So flop bottom pair on a paired board, and the king high flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Let's flat, and I think, yeah, and see what happens here. We could raise, but when we have a bigger pair, so we have 4 boat outs plus a nut flush draw. Which means definitely gonna call another street, and we do hit the boat. Which means we only are losing to quad 5s and 6-5, which is going to be kind of hard to have. It's also going to be hard to really get called. 4 might have a 5 in his hand, but I don't think 6 is going to be able to call like anything. But we're going to hope 4 has a 5 in his hand and calls. He does, and we're good. Nice. So he clearly had to have a 5, or either backed into the case 6, which would have been kind of gnarly. But that's like one of, I mean, I don't know if we're ever really getting called by much else. Yeah, we're gonna have to fold there. He had aces, which that's pretty strong. Like, I'm really happy the heart didn't hit because we would have been in trouble. We wouldn't have gotten stacked on the paired board, but we would have definitely lost a bet because we would have probably bet out, maybe gotten raised. Maybe just flatted on the paired board, but we'd have lost either way. We'd have lost one bet. So, feels good to get there sometimes. And when the small blind raises here, I mean, he's V-pipping 44%. I do have a queen high suit. I'm just never folding, and he doesn't even, like, yeah, I'm just not ever folding. Flop a pair, he pots. He doesn't have enough money behind to, like, really try to be creative here. And yeah, we just gonna have to fold. We don't have much, we're likely behind and just don't have much going. Even if he just has a king. And we're back to the premium hands, guys. Premiums. A VPIP is 14 because we keep getting these hands. So it's all about the happens. Definitely folding to the end of the, it's double suited, but like our high card strength sucks. Connectivity sucks. This rainbow hand's a fold. And the small blind as well. Ace, queen, jack, jack with nut diamonds on the button as well, so I'm more than happy to open this up for sure. So this guy's open range so far has been fairly tight. We have some nuttedness to it, like we're making nut straights, we're making nut flushes, and likely if we hit a set, we're on top set. So this is a hand that I think I want to pull more players in, so I don't want to 3-bet and force the big blind out, even though he folds regardless. And this flop doesn't really do much for us. But we're in position, we have an overpair, backdoor straight draw. We're gonna float and try to take it away here. We have the spade blocker, and it's a decent spade blocker. So he bets. We're gonna raise here. You know what? I'm rethinking this. He's been fairly tight, and his open range is gonna include. I'm gonna fold. This guy's been like, his stats, it's only 30 hands, but his stats are fairly snug, and I feel like he's got a lot more nut flush draws in his range than I do. And at least nut flush blockers. I mean, he's probably going to fold. He has to fold if I raise him, and he just has the blocker, but we definitely are going to raise there with the nut flush blocker and probably with the king high blocker too. We're going to have to fold this. This would have been a really uncomfortable spot. You're almost certainly not ahead. Yeah. Oh, wow. You turned the boat and rivered quads. We're actually ahead of player 4 though. He got it done. Or we were chopping with player 4. He had ace king as well. This is easy check, I think. So we flop open-ended. Backdoor flush draw. And we turn the flush draw. We're gonna... He almost certainly doesn't have a queen here unless he flopped a boat and was slow playing. So yeah, we're gonna just stab, try to over realize on our equity. $9874 rainbow. Yeah, super check. And I'm flopping inside wrap. Rainbow board, so without there being any flush draws, all our outs are clean. So we're definitely going to call. We'll see what this guy does here. It was a limp pot, so who knows? This guy's stack is super small, which is kind of annoying because it doesn't really let you bluff them off of very much. So I mean, he pots. We don't have the equity that we need to draw to 9 outs. And he doesn't have anything left in his stack to offer really any implied odds either. So our equity is denied, unfortunately, which is unfortunate. Double suited queens in the small blind here. Everybody folds. We're gonna raise this one up. And the king 998 with a 9 high suit is a easy fold. I'm gonna go for a check call here. I think when we c-bet on this flop, we're gonna get bluff raised a lot because there's not like a ton of 9s in our range. Like we're gonna have a lot more big pairs and like high cards. And our hand is likely significantly ahead or significantly behind. With queens and 9s, like we're gonna beat 5-7. Any other pairs? We pick up with aces, single suited aces here in the other table. We're gonna obviously call here. If he bets again, Be kind of a weird spot, I think. Paired queens again. And we do take it down on that with the queens. Queens and nines. So this is a spot where if we had the ace of diamonds, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna call once. We're gonna have to fold here, I think. If he bets again. He knows I probably don't have a queen when I check the flop, is the thing. So maybe I should just check folded or bet folded. I'm not sure. It's kind of an ugly spot. Yeah, and we're just gonna let it go. This hand would be a lot stronger if the queen was the club. So we had a king high and a queen high suit. With all these limpers, like, so. I'm just gonna fold. If it was the queen high suit too, I would consider taking a different line there. But, like, what do we really want? Like, if we raise, I mean, we had two limpers in front. If we raise, we're almost certainly going to the flop 3 or 4 ways. We don't have a nut suit, particularly the clubs. And the 5 does not connect at all with the rest of our hand. So, I mean, this flop would have been pretty close to as good as it gets with the open-ender and second up flush draw. But, like, if the money really starts to go in, then I think a lot of times we're going to be up against the nut flush draw. This has been a pretty gnarly turn. Double flush draw. And again, this spot, I guess, if we had the queen high clubs instead of 10 high clubs, we could feel a lot more comfortable getting really aggressive. This is going to be a clear defend in the big blind unless somebody 3-bets. His range is... yeah, he's opened 3 out of 7 hands under the gun in the last 7 orbits, so he's opening too wide unless he's just happening to catch a lot of like premiums. He does have a nut suit, making nut straights most of the time, and we can make a wheel straight too. We flop basically nothing. 2 backdoor straight draws. He continues big, and he calls from the button, so we're just going to get out of the way. Interesting, the forward check here when this guy only had $11 left, or $11 or $12. So, like, there's no flush draws there. If you've got aces, like, I think calling is a bad decision. Like, you either gotta, like, what was he trying to avoid? Like, all the straights were already there. So, okay, so he was just slow playing the nuts. I guess that makes sense. But when this got bet, like, you could probably just get him to get it in. This is an interesting spot here. We have kings with 2 Broadway side cards, but it's rainbow. No, I did not mean to pot. So we have some nuttiness component, but our equity distribution is not going to flop super smooth. We're going to flop top set a small percentage of the time, and then hands like this. Like a lot. So we have a gut shot. And this kind of goes to show, like, with a rainbow hand, we have no backdoor flush draws or anything. So, like, on the turns, we're just basically hoping to hit a really strong, like, you know, miracle 10. A king would be good, but the straight gets there on a king. So, and I just don't think bluffing into 3 opponents, even though they all showed weakness, that 6 complete straights, I just think we are going to be, yeah. And this guy had a straight and just checked it, which is a little interesting. But flop to set with a nut flush blocker over here. But that was a pretty bad starting hand, especially for under the gun. You're going to be leaking a lot of chips if you're playing that hand under the gun. This is a really crappy hand. I'm just going to give up this big blind. I hate folding my big blinds. I want to defend, but I don't know. I just think that that has, like, very little going for it. Oh, I was getting confused on which table I was on because the hands are really similar on both. So we got Ace, King, Queen, 7 with Ace High Hearts on one table. This isn't nearly as strong. I was just getting confused. This is a fold. So we flop top 2 in the nut flush draw. So we are hoping and praying for action from seat number 6. What we would like to see here, so we're going to put out like a weakish, like, or a standard like C-bet sizing bet, and we're hoping to get check raised. And we don't want to see a 4, 6, 8, 9. We want to see high cards or hearts or like a deuce on the turn, or just take it down. It kind of hurts sometimes when you like feel like you're playing snug and you flop a monster and just get no action. 8, 5, 5, 4. We're going to play back around to the big blind and wrap things up. And we're going to be back tomorrow for the Sunday crowd. Same time, 9 o'clock. 9886. We're going to open this up. Obviously, best case scenario there. This is a clear fold under the gun, as is this. See, we got some new viewers just popping in. Welcome to the stream, guys. Thanks for your support. Let me know what you think in the comments. You're catching us at the tail end, but that is all good. Yeah, actually, this is the last hand. I'm in the big blind next hand, so I'm gonna get out of there. Yeah. Cool. So, thanks for stopping by, guys. I really appreciate it. We're gonna be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern time to continue it. Hopefully, we get a little more action. We sat around with a lot of trashy holdings for that hour, and unfortunately, that did not enable us to get stacks in. But tomorrow, expect a lot of tournament players that are busting out to hop on the cash tables. Hopefully, doing so on tilt and give us all their monies. So again, we'll be back tomorrow. If you missed any episode 1, episode 2, or are interested in checking out some of the hand analysis videos that I've got out, they are on my YouTube channel. Search YouTube at PLObro Official, or check out my Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook as well for all the links. So hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a good evening. Everybody be safe out there. Run good. And stack the villain. Good night, guys. Peace.